I will tell you this, we've been in leadership our whole lives, and there are moments I look back on where if I would have had some of these tools, I think I could have been even a better leader.
A lot of people don't even know that there's a difference between listening and hearing. How do you explain it?
You can hear by accident, but you can only listen by intention. People become the way you listen to them. Think about that for a second. People will become the way you listen to them. If that is true, what might that say about the future of our relationships? If you want to learn this as a skill rather than just something you do, you're going to be a weapon. Lights On is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's okay to struggle. Real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying and doing something about it so you can be at your best for yourself and for the people in your life that you love. Therapy is not just about trauma. It's about learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries in your life that create new freedom. With over 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people. And it works too, with an App Store rating of 4.9 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. And it's convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, you can switch therapy and therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a variety of expertise. So talk it out with BetterHelp. So our listeners get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp.com/lightson. That's BetterHelp.com/lightson. Lights on. Glad you're here. If you're brand new to this podcast, so good to have you. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you. Laura Lentz.
Hello.
I'm breaking out new glasses, and you thought you'd try to double down and bring out your big ones.
Yeah, we're matching.
Okay. I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah.
How you feeling? You look beautiful. Welcome to Lights On.
Thanks.
Your show. This is your show.
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah?
Been a rough couple of weeks, but I'm good.
Wait, are you referring to your near-death accident? Or are you referring to what?
Just my brain
your brain?
processing things.
I love your brain. It's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's trying.
Yeah, it's trying. Okay. Well, we got an amazing focal point today, and thank you for being here with us. We thank you for writing and checking in and giving us your feedback on this podcast. We love it. It's helpful. It's huge, and I continually meet people that have the greatest things to say about their life and sometimes the impact some of these conversations are having, and I love to hear it. It's my favorite thing. We're going to talk about how to listen. I realized the other day that as I was working with somebody, this is possibly one of the most under-talked about misses when it comes to communication. And I realized when talking to a bad listener, oh my gosh, how great is it to be able to discover what could be maybe a really transformational hack that people don't get a lot. I think it might even be unmissable. That's what I'd say about this. Is that what kind of feedback you're going to give me today? This little If you want to transform your leadership, your relationships, your marriage, your ability in social settings, all of this is deeply impacted by whether or not you know how to listen, not just hear, but actually listen. Like when I think about people who hear, from a leadership perspective, imagine being a leader that had a team of people that weren't just hearing what you're saying, but they're listening. Like imagine having a marriage where you're being heard, but you feel like someone's listening. This is a totally different game when people get it, and it's not talked about a lot. So I figured, oh my gosh, of course, we're going to bring this to light. We're going to talk about all different types, what it means, how to do it right. I keep waiting for you to say something. Are you going to hop in?
I am. I was just listening to you.
No, it is maybe one of the best, most powerful social hacks. If you are listening to this just to be more appealing to people, it's not the worst motivation in the world, but you talk about people who are trying to hit the dating scene or just be better in social settings, you learn how to be an effective listener, and you will be the most attractive person in the room because people will start to gravitate towards you. Like you look for people who know how to listen better.
That's true.
And all of a sudden, it's like, why are these people always hanging out with people that seem exciting and seem fun? Well, the truth is they probably learned how to listen. And when you know how to listen, you know how to love, you know how to reach people. It's a totally a game changer that has impacted my life in a pretty fresh new way.
Well, I'm pretty excited to learn for myself because I'm not necessarily the greatest listener.
It's not that you're not a great listener.
Well, no, sometimes I find myself like, you'll be yapping, but...
That feels offensive.
Okay, talking, you'll be talking. And my brain will just be in 100 different places. I'm sure other people can relate to that.
Sure.
Having to be able to really hone in and focus on someone who is talking to you can be a challenge. And so I'm excited to learn a few things as well.
If you are an attention deficit disorder junkie,
Me.
our house is like a train station. I mean, if you want somebody to get your attention in this house, you really got to bring something good to the table.
Yeah.
But it makes it extra challenging. And then you add on the social construct of our world with distraction. And then you add on the new barrier of most people don't talk, they text. It's impossible to listen to a text. But most people, especially our biggest pet peeve, is anybody who does anything confrontationally over text. Stop doing that. Stop it. If you need to say something that's confrontational, if you need to say something that can be taken a certain way, go ahead and unction up the courage.
Unction.
Go ahead and get the courage to use actual words, look in somebody's eye. But I'm going to break down the 5 types of listening, from distracted to defensive, all the way to what I call elevated listening, generative listening, and what that means, how we can do it immediately, and what it can do for your life. It unlocks healing, it changes atmospheres, it makes you a more viable and attractive employee, and it helps you understand your freaking kids better. You want to talk about the biggest parenting hack in the world? Learn how to listen to your kids. It is amazing. It's been totally transformative. I know for me, we think listening is passive. It's not. Listening is power.
Yeah. And
I'm just here to listen. Passive. I'm here to listen. Power.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
Well, and I think we focus so much on talking, learning how to talk well, communicate better as in a relationship, or communicate and talk better in wherever you find yourself. And there's so much weight to that, but having an ability to be able to operate in that listening skill is huge. I would say even in our marriage, maybe one of the top reasons why our marriage is working is because we've learned how to listen to each other.
I would agree. You could even say it might have saved our future.
Right.
To be able to not just hear you, but learn how to listen to you. Listen to what you're saying, what you're not saying, what you feel, what you don't feel. And it creates a really beautiful conduit for a really fresh relationship. Yeah. I know for me, I had to totally revamp the way that I listen, because it's an art, it's a superpower, it's a blessing. And there's an iconic scene in White Men Can't Jump, not the Jack Harlow version, the real version with Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson. And if you had not checked out that movie, go ahead and see what real movies used to look like. And there's a scene in there where Wesley Snipes gets in the car and he plays Jimi Hendrix, and Woody Harrelson starts to like vibe out to it in a weird, awkward, semi-white way, to which Wesley Snipes looks at him and he says, nah, white people you can't listen to Jimmy. He said, you can hear it, but you can't listen to it. And they bounce back and forth. And he's like, I can. He's like, no, you can't, because he was inferring that listening, it's deeper, it's cultural, it's experiential, it's transformational. And he's like, that to me is a beautiful way to look at a lot of things. There's a lot of people who are hearing, not a lot of people that are listening. Oh, I hear what culture says. Yeah, but do you listen? Right. And so I think for me, it's one of those things where I had to relearn it all. And I want a huge shout out to Novus Global, Jason Jaggard, the MPI Institute. I literally stopped thinking how I was thinking and picked up a new toolbox, including how to listen again, because I thought I was a great listener. Turns out I was a pretty average to below average listener, and I had to relearn everything. Perfect example. And for all the dads out there, listen to me closely. If you can learn how to listen to your kids, listen to your son, listen to your daughter, what you learn about them is so much different than just hearing what they're saying. Perfect example of me thinking I'm a good listener. And it's hard to remember, but I was able to take that memory and make it something that has impacted me. Charlie, we're living in Jersey, and she was dealing with anxiety, and I didn't listen often enough. I heard her, flirt around with the word, but I didn't listen to what she wasn't saying. And I went up to her room one day, and she's doing her homework, and she was frustrated with school, and she was really stressed out. And I said, what's stressing you out? She was like, I was like, is it that math? Is it the math that's stressing you out? Only stupid people are good at math. Like, I went on my dad there, ripped up the pages, and I'm like, that's what we think about math. We don't care about school around here. We care about character. And I'm like, do you know what I'm saying? Hug her, and I went out and took her out. I walked away thinking, great dad move. Turns out that's a core memory for her of a time I didn't listen. Because what she was trying to say was there's more in here, Dad, than just stress about school. I had no idea what was happening in her little heart. And it led to a lot of pain and a lot of struggle and a lot of almost tragedy with our beautiful daughter. And I look back at that moment and I said, I was hearing her. I was hearing her say, I'm stressed about school. I wasn't listening to what her heart was saying. I wasn't listening to what her soul was crying out for, and it almost cost us dearly. And now I don't play around. I'll hear you, but I actually want to listen to you. And I think that's the power of what we're going to talk about. And if you want to learn this as a skill rather than just something you do, you're going to be a weapon. Lights On is proud to partner with God Behind Bars. And if there's one organization worthy of your time and investment, I believe it's organizations just like this. Let me read you some stats that will really wake you up to the problem of incarceration in our world. Less than 14% of inmates are serving life sentences, and up to as many as 95% of all incarcerated individuals will be released back into society at some point. 27% of those released will return to prison within 3 years. 82% will return to prison within 10 years. God Behind Bars addresses this drastic recidivism problem with a unique approach that focuses on the spiritual, physical, and relational needs of inmates and their families. The mission is very simple. It is to restore lives, rebuild families, and prove that nobody is beyond God's reach, no matter their past or their prison walls. God Behind Bars is changing lives. I saw a clip recently of a father-daughter dance that they did with fathers that are obviously incarcerated, and by the grace of God, they organized this beautiful event, and it made me violently cry because nobody should feel forgotten. Don't care what you've done. And God Behind Bars is changing lives every single day. Proud to partner with them. Check them out today, godbehindbars.com. There is a Pando app that is gaining steam, and they get resources, they get hope, they get mental health help. Through this app, they're reaching a lot of people. So please check them out today. God Behind Bars. What an organization. Lights On is partnering with plana.org. It's a phenomenal organization that is built to empower women who have faced with all kinds of unexpected circumstances, especially when it comes to pregnancy. And they offer support, they offer tools, they offer community. And if you wanted to know how can I immediately help somebody who really needs it, check out plana.org today. We love them, you will too. And you can make a difference in the life of somebody today just by checking them out. Plana.org. We love y'all.
People don't even know that there's a difference between listening and hearing. So how do you sum it up? Like, how do you explain it?
Fair. You can hear by accident, but you can only listen by intention. You can hear by accident. You're a recorder. Like you hear stuff in a restaurant. You hear something at church. But you can only listen by true intention. So that's the difference. There's a lot of people who are like, there is no difference. No, there really is. I think when you see it like kind of weighed up like that, it's like when immediately when you talk to your kids and you go through a 90-minute lecture. I hear you, Dad. And then you're like, you ready to go? Go where? I just said, get your wallet, get your shoes, get your passport. You heard me. You weren't listening.
Right.
Hearing is just what happens by default. I can hear noise, but I can listen to people. It's a big difference. So that's the distinction I like to make.
Well, most relationships, though, they plateau because people aren't listening.
Correct.
So what do we do about that?
Well, most relationships plateau, not because people are not talking.
Right.
That's what most people think. Like, we don't talk well. That might be true, but most relationships plateau because somebody isn't not listening. So it becomes really, really deadly. I think, let me go back to the hearing, and easy way to look at hearing. Are you a hearer or are you a listener? Hearing, passive. Passive awareness. It's biological. Your ears work. your sound enters. You register words. It's effortless. You're just kind of there. Example, you hear somebody say, "I'm fine." And that's all you hear. Listening, it's intentional interpretation. So it's active, it's chosen, you engage mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you interpret tone, body language, the way they're thinking, subtext, belief, intention. Like, this is a totally different game. You're listening not just to what is being said, but you're listening to what is not being said. That right there is a difference between an epic people reacher and somebody who misses out on a lot of huge clue context.
Yeah, I think you do that really well. You've learnt, I think, in a lot of the MPI coaching stuff that you've done, you've learnt like body language. You notice everything.
I'm obsessed with it.
Like with our kids, even you'll be like, your shoulders just dropped. And it's like, dude, how did you even see that?
I went down a wormhole of body language stuff.
Especially with our teenagers.
Oh my gosh. And it's been the greatest hack ever, because I'll be like, your little eyes twitching. What might be hiding under your bed? Because I saw an FBI interrogator say that when the left eyebrow moves, there's contraband in your room. But no, it becomes something that you just fall in love with, because you're like, it's like an active, a hearer. So somebody says, "I'm fine." Cool, they're fine. A listener, "I'm fine." What might they not be saying? "Hey, do you feel safe to share how you really feel? Just want to be sure." Game changer. But you got to listen to hear the tone of fine. You got to listen for that kind of thing. And I think, what I love about Jesus when I study him is I'm convinced he was the greatest listener to ever live. Mm-hmm. And there's so many instances of Jesus asking questions, which is a shock to Christians right away. But I think he had this beautiful ability to not just hear, but to listen. And people poured out their heart. I think that's something that I'm always striving to do, but I had to relearn it all. And I think listening is not the act of hearing words spoken. It is the art of understanding what they mean. Listening. It is not the act of hearing words spoken. It's the art of understanding what they mean. I want my art to be my ability to understand and listen to you.
That's good.
It is not easy. If you are married to somebody that uses very few words, I share your pain. I lament with you. There are times I'm like, Lord, I am trying. I am an expert listener. I have a PhD in listening. Just give me something to work with.
I know, I'm terrible.
That's not a positive
Not
confession.
terrible. I'm just practicing how to express myself better.
Great freaking reframe.
Having a reframe.
You got to get on the train here. I think if this is true, and shout out again to my MPI crew, Joseph King Barkley, a couple of amazing teachers, but there's a phrase they use, and I think it's true. If it's true, it really matters. So the future, let me say this again, shout out to Jason Jaggard, Joseph King Barkley. If you need direct help on this and you're interested in it, go to MPI Institute. Check it out. That's where I was baptized by fire in some of this. Pretty common levels of listening. And as you listen to this, pick where you might fall on what level you live in the most. Not where have you but what would be accurate for you. And then you can share this with someone who's terrible at listening, and the passive-aggressive send of this podcast will bless them. But, if you're a leader, I will tell you this. been in leadership our whole lives, and there are moments I look back on where if I would have had some of these tools, I think I could have been even a better leader, especially when it comes to the deeper things. I remember vividly one of our amazing worship leaders at the time, my friend Nathan. He had told me he was struggling with whether it's anxiety or fear or whatever. I remember hearing it and giving a quick encouragement diagnosis. Had I listened, I would have realized it wasn't surfacey. It was more about position and place and stuff, and there's things he needed that I wouldn't have been aware of.
Right.
The quick here is, oh, hey, are you good, bro? You seem stressed. You seem whatever. Yeah, I'm dealing with this. Okay, cool. We need to do A, B, and C.
A little pep talk.
Yeah, a pep talk, a verse.
Right.
Here's a scripture. I look back on that actually years later, came back and said, man, I'm sorry that I didn't know what I know now. I would have leaned in, I would have listened, and probably could have given more comfort and help. If you are a leader and you want to radically shift your organization, learn how to listen better. And it will take care of so many problems before they start. And you didn't do anything but show up differently when it comes to being a listener. So 5 levels of listening, easy, clear. Find out where you sit on this totem pole. Number 1,
I know where I am.
The distracted listener. It's the lowest level of listening. And it happens to be a common symptom of the disconnected marriage, by the way, in related news. When you talk to couples that are on the fritz, on the outs, there is a giant disconnect in communication, in the way they listen. And this is what the distracted listener can be summed up as. It's where you're present in body, but your mind is elsewhere. You're not actually present. You're listening through your own agenda, your own ego, your own pain, your own hurt. Example would be thinking about what you'll say next instead of what the person is actually saying.
Absolutely.
And this is awesome to see in dysfunctional marriages when someone will be talking, the other person will, you done? You done? Well, I hate you. It's like that had nothing to do with what I was saying.
It looks like someone that could be on their phone while their spouse is talking, and they're just like, or like sharing a powerful moment, and then they're like, wait,
what?
What'd you say? Say that again? I missed that. Like,
oh, you see how accurately you did that? Hello, bing, bang. For the real-time example. Well done.
But that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Because we are distracted. People are distracted, and we can see this. We watch people all the time do it.
Yeah.
It's great.
And we're not perfect with this, but we do have rules that have totally almost eliminated the distracted listener from our relationship.
Yeah.
I just refuse. I refuse
You
to
just
be
stop
that
talking.
guy, and I refuse to be on the either end.
Yeah.
I refuse to talk to somebody who's not listening. And I don't want to listen to somebody who has other, 90 things going on. That is our culture. That is the sign of the times. I think, like hypothetically, if someone says, this is what a distracted listener sounds like. I'm feeling overwhelmed at work and at home. The distracted listener says, did you try to use a planner? There might be some deeper things going on there. Emotional cue missed by you. And here's what distracted listening communicates above all else. You're not worth my full presence. That might not be your intention, but guess who gives 0 Fs about your intention? The person receiving you as this type of listener.
Yeah.
So if you are listening to someone while you're on your phone and while you're talking and while you're looking around, you're also telling them, by the way, before you continue, you're not worth my full attention.
It's very disrespectful.
That's tough to own.
It's the same as sitting at a dinner table with people and they have their phones out. We have, for the most part, we try to put our phones away, face down at least.
Yeah.
Or at least say to the person, hey, I'm waiting on a phone call, or I'm waiting to hear from my kid, or whatever it is, so that, they're aware of it. But sitting at a table where people are like this while you're having a conversation and enjoying food, it's just not very honoring.
It's the lowest level of listening and the most common. So to me, that to me is the thing that builds some of the most rapport, is just clarity. And if it's not our setting that we don't control, we're not going to go heavy-handed with that. But if it is our setting, if we have someone over for dinner, I'm going to say, hey, in about 30 minutes, I might have to take a call.
Right.
So when that happens, I'm not listening to you. I have to take that if that happens. But we just don't do phones. And if we do, we had the best date ever the other night. We were so tired. I said, would you mind if I mindlessly scrolled? And you go, thank you for saying that. That's what I want to do. We were like, but that's not normal. It was actually it was like a treat.
It was just an exhausting day, so we just needed
to sometimes that happens.
Catch up on some things.
The distinction is what breaks the power of that distraction, because I'm actually not distraction. I'm intentionally going to look at my phone.
Right.
And that's pretty powerful. So here's a quick tip for those of you that just feel super guilty right now. Good. First step of change is owning it. The best tip, put your phone away and think this thought the next time someone starts to talk to you. This person is the most important person in the world right now. It really works. So if you're tempted, even if it's a quick interaction, hold on, right now, this person is the most important person in the world. We have been around people like this. Mike Todd is a genius when it comes to not being a distracted listener. He will, 100%. It doesn't matter if there's like atomic bombs blowing up. I've been around other people that are like that is very, very good. It makes you feel really, really special. It makes you feel up. Number 2, the second type of listener, it's the defensive / judgmental listener. And unfortunately, it is a symptom of low intellect Christianity, frequented.
Absolutely.
Embodied in many Christians, especially in our, ecosystem of evangelicalism. This is the listener of choice, the judgmental /
And I would say
defensive
to that, I think there's a lot of pressure for leaders and pastors. So if someone's like, hey, can we go out for coffee or whatever, and someone needs advice from their leader or pastor, they do this without probably even realizing. So they're not really fully listening. They're sitting there like waiting to come up with their rebuttal or their questions and their answers to their problem.
Yeah, it's listening to agree or disagree, win, correct, or protect yourself.
Yeah.
Or the kicker, to be right. I am waiting for you to stop talking so I can show you where I'm right. You hear through your filter of your identity, your wounds, your biases, and it's really common in conflict, in debates, insecure leadership. Here's why it's often common in low intellect, low security Christians, because you only have a couple answers.
Right.
So here's what a judgmental defensive listener sounds like. What's your background? And the person's like, I'm a universalist. I believe a little bit of Buddha. I believe a little bit of this. I frequent, Jesus here and there, and I'm not sure what's real. Here's a judgmental defensive listener. The Bible's real. It's the infallible, authentic Word of God. That's not the play there.
Right.
And there's someone on the other side of this who's going to be like, that is the play. Truth is truth. You're a terrible listener.
Yeah.
Right away. That's the thought that goes through your head. There's so many other ways to lean in and listen. So if I say, what book do you build your life on? And that person says, definitely not the Bible. The Bible's not accurate. Defensive, judgmental, it is accurate.
Right.
Let me tell you how. It's the most accurate it's ever been. There are so many things that point to the accuracy of Scripture. Or, what is accurate to you?
Tell me more about that thought.
How do you even phrase accuracy? Like, do you love history? Tell me about that. People will typically walk themselves into opening themselves up in ways they didn't even plan to. But if you are a judgmental, predetermined, preloaded Christian, for instance, you're going to struggle reaching people. And most Christians have 3 or 4 answers at most. So they're waiting for someone to talk because they're like, okay, I've got my chat GPT responses for an atheist. Yeah, it's not loading. It's not loading. All that is out the table, out of the room when you understand. I have the superpower of listening. So I don't believe Jesus was real. Great. He was real. What do you mean by real? What do you lean your life on? He is real. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning. He's the end.
because the
He's
Bible
the
says
way,
he's
the truth, the life.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
But to someone who doesn't believe that, you can't just say that and think, oh,
missing.
I'm going to get, that's the answer. Okay,
So,
great. Thanks for that.
Security allows you to sit.
Right.
Insecurity forces you to fight. So if you're a secure listener, being a judgmental, defensive one, and this is prevalent in, I was in some random TikTok, horrible algorithm of debates. And it was such a case study in people that were bad listeners. So the person would be debating and they'd be like on the timer. The moment they're done, boom, they're launching. There's no discourse. There's hearing. There's no listening. And I think it can be the disconnection created by this type of listener. It's hard to overstate how big a deal it is just to recognize if this is you. Here's how it looks in marriage. This is hypothetically, a spouse says, this may or may not be real. The spouse says, I don't feel like I can talk to you about how I'm struggling. The judgmental, defensive listener says, that's not fair. I've done everything I can. How could you not feel like you could talk to me? They are hearing, maybe, but they're listening for their own fear and their own desire to, I guess, maybe reconnect. Who knows? But this is a real temptation for people that have strong opinions.
Right.
Me.
Well, they take that as offensive and they want to make it about them.
They make it about you. So a judgmental, defensive listener, the spouse says to you, I don't feel like you're giving me enough time. I give you all my time. What are you talking about? I wake up in the morning for you, and I show up at night for you, and I spend the remainder of my day planning for you. How could you say that?
They're not validating any feeling in that.
Beautiful recording. A lot of defensive, judgmental, and wives, hey, they're not absolved from this, my love. There's 100%. A lot of judgmental, defensive listeners sitting on the other side of the table as well. Looks like a man saying, I don't know if I'm feeling it right now. Judgmental, defensive, jumps right down the throat.
Yep.
And there's a better play. So I think a great self-check for you, if this is relating to what you're doing when you do this, is you are eliminating a relationship that could be fruitful. That's what starts to happen. So a great self-check is, who in your life do you listen to while building a defense in your head? Who's that person? Who in your life right now can you think of that while they're talking, you are already building a defense? Ask yourself why. Why would that be? And then maybe try a different tact. So here's another play. If you go, that's me. I'm a judgmental, defensive listener. I have been that at times. I've been judgmental as a listener because I wait for somebody to finish and I would just drop that hammer. Truth is, you're an idiot. They'll talk. Truth is, you're just an idiot. Couple quick tips to immediately shift this. You count to 5 in your head before answering. All the ADHD people just lost their mind. They're like, you can do that? You can. So someone says something to you, give it a shot, Lord. Just give me a hypothetical. Just say something outlandish.
You never take out the trash.
2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I never take out the trash. I'm going to go look at that. I'm going to take the trash out. Love to talk more later. What else might be going on there?
Right.
For you to say never. Man, she must be at her wit's end with some other things. Because I do take the trash out at least twice a month. Never. Preposterous. There's a rhythm that comes with security. So I like this too. So you wait 5 seconds, and then also when someone that you genuinely don't like is talking to you and you have to listen to them, this is a quick hack. Ask yourself what might be true about what they are saying, even if you don't love the way they're saying it. That's deep growth.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of courage. So someone is talking to you, maybe they're unkind, maybe they disagree, maybe they're trying to tear you apart, and it is a really gangster, secure play to even then consider, what about this statement might be true? Gives you power.
Yeah.
No reaction. I love that one. Number 3, The transactional listener. This is listening for action items, intellectual agreement. This is at least functional, but it's never going to bring like true, powerful change, mindset shift, transformation. It's better than the other two, but a transactional listener, you're hearing for content, facts, ideas, instructions, stories. This is good for gathering surface information. This is speed dating. Great. Here, yep, cool, heard you, great, love it, yep. It's good for information, often found in the workplace, coworkers, people you chill with, problem solving, even early stages of a mentoring type relationship. You have to, at some level, there has to be a transaction of information to have some sort of depth.
Yeah.
But it's not the thing you're going to use that's going to bring change.
Yeah. I mean, it can look like summarizing people's thoughts or taking notes. Got it. Yep. Let's keep going. Like, I get it. I get what you're saying. Quick responses.
Got it. I get what you're saying.
I say that.
I'm not done saying it. How can you get what hasn't been said?
Okay, got it. I do that all the time.
Bruh. Even being a yes, that's a real one. So I think it's you solve everything quickly. Got it.
Yeah.
Let's go do this. Functional, not necessarily transformational. So it's like if you're a leader and someone comes to you and says, I'm not sure I'm in the right role anymore. And a transactional hearer goes, okay, let's schedule a review and go over your responsibilities. It's helpful, but you might be missing the giant undercurrent of what might be transformational. Mm-hmm. If you only listen to what somebody says, you might miss what they mean. Mm. If you only listen to what somebody says, there is a huge chance you might miss what they actually mean. So here's the quick tip to break free from just the lowest level of transactional listening. Why is that important to you? I feel like why is that important to you? It's another layer of depth. It's another level of freedom for them to communicate. What does that mean for you personally? That's a great one. So if you are listening to this in your car, write it down on some note when you pull over. If you are guilty of being a transactional listener, that's a really quick one. You reflect back more than on just instructions. Reflect some identity. So sounds like you really care about getting this right. Wow. All I did was listen. So someone's like, I need to do A, B, and C, and I need this. Wow, it sounds like you're really passionate. Say more. Now we went from a quick transaction to, man, I feel like I have potential and my schedule is so filled with stuff. All right, play number one. Let's get you organized, bro. Play number two. It sounds like you're passionate about maximizing this time in your life. That's pretty cool. Say more. Now, a little bit of depth, a little bit of safety. Now you have a real potential conversation cooking, which most people wouldn't even know what that looks like. Number 4. Cheers.
Cheers.
So if you are tracking with us, this is the big one, a big one. Don't get thrown off by the word, but level 4, it's an empathetic listener. And do not go off the handles with how the word empathy has been used, misused, hijacked. In this sense, it's listening with presence, curiosity, compassion. You hear emotion, not just information. My gosh, who has ever been on the wrong side of a non-empathetic listener? Is there anything worse?
It's awful.
Oh my gosh, when you sit across from people who have no empathy, you could pour out your heart. And it's just okay, cool. Well, have a great day.
Yeah.
See ya. It's that vibe that communicates. I'm not really hearing you. If you are an empathetic listener, you're fully present. You're connected. You're listening for emotion, belief, what is not being said. You can validate things without fixing. Big shout out to all the husbands out there. This isn't easy, but if you can learn how to be an empathetic listener, makes your life a whole lot easier because you don't have to fix everything. So if I am an empathetic listener, I put myself on the other side of the tracks here and you just go, yeah, that sounds hard to hear. Sounds heavy. As a husband, you want to go, hey, let me go handle that. Let me go fight your coworker. Let me go slash his tires. Let me go make your life easier. Empathetic listening is going, okay, I see that. That is a different world that opens up to you because people start to feel that. It can resonate with the fact that you care on a deeper level. There's a Laura looks like there.
Yeah, it looks like, I think, pausing before you say something,
Which is great.
responding, or like reflecting back on the feelings. Like it sounds like you're feeling invisible. Is that right? Or like you're fully present and unattached to fixing.
Yeah.
Is what it can look like as well.
So the hypothetical would be a friend says, I feel like I'm failing as a parent. You're able to say it. That sounds really heavy. What makes you feel like that? You have to break free from either the transaction or even the distracted or even the lowest levels, which in a situation like that, I feel like I'm failing as a parent. Why? You're a great parent.
Yeah.
What? Like, or transactional. Let's make sure you've got what you need to be the parent you always dreamed of being. Okay, cool, man. But this level of empathetic listener, that sounds really heavy. You can even throw in, I feel like that too sometimes.
Right.
Why do you feel like that? Wow. If immediately you're like, this is going to take too long, such is life. If you don't want to take time, you can never actually listen to what anybody has going on in the first place. But you're creating safety, a safe space, a rhythm that tells somebody, I'm safe to actually be real here. Empathetic listening screams, you're safe here.
Right.
You're safe here. And what does safety create? Total transformation.
Freedom. Yeah.
If you're not safe, you can't change. If you're not safe, you can't be honest. If you're not safe, you cannot transform anything in your life. So an easy hack is to just learn how to be empathetic. You're not the fixer. You're not the hero. You're not the guru. You're just a really good listener. Before you know it, you become a valuable commodity because we don't have these in our world anymore. We don't have a lot of them. Quick tips for this, and this is hugely helpful. If you are learning how to do this and you've never been on an empathetic listening journey, which I can assume most people might not have really even thought about it like this, easiest way to build this as a strength is to say, it sounds like you're feeling. Like, I can't stand where I work. I can't stand Tulsa. And it's so hot in Oklahoma, I feel like I'm going to melt in summer. It sounds like you're feeling pretty overwhelmed. It gives them a chance to either course correct that, validate that, speak deeper into it, and now you are somebody who they're in their subconscious, they're like, that person right there cares about me. All you did was reflect a potential question. Suddenly, you're more attractive. Suddenly, there's a deeper bridge. Noticing tone and body language, that is an upper level passion, but you can find out a lot. This question comes to mind when you start to learn people's body language. What might be underneath what they're saying?
Right.
So if you're not even conscious of this, if someone says to me, I don't feel like this is a good place for me to be. It is a good place, bro. Like, what's wrong with you? We come here all the time. If you're empathetic, the fact you're crossing your arms, dead giveaway that something's happened to you in a setting like this.
Right.
I bet you it's hard to even think about some of this stuff again. All you did was create safety. Someone's subconscious is like, oh, wow, you actually might see something about me no one else has seen. It's powerful. Number 5. This to me is the game changer. I call it the elevated listening. MPI calls it the generative listener. And this is listening on behalf of the future the person says they want to have. It is next level. And why I say it is elevated listening is because you're not just seeing and hearing their current pain, you're literally helping them lift their eyes beyond it. And all you did was listen in a certain way. So imagine being such a good listener that someone could bring pain, struggle, trauma, fear to your plate, and they leave. And because of the way you listened, you elevated their vision and you elevated their life. To me, that's my favorite part about what I get to do now. I do more listening than I do talking, 10 to 1.
100%.
Because if you learn how to do it correctly, people are lifting themselves and they don't even know it. and all you're doing is helping them spin and see a perspective maybe they've missed. You listen on behalf of the future they have said they want. So you hear where they are now, but not only that, you see what they might be capable of becoming. You challenge limited stories, limited beliefs, assumptions they might not even know they're making, but all this comes from caring about who you said you want to become. And you listen to expand, not just understand. I'll say that again. You listen to expand, not just understand. So this is a great level. I want to understand. But when you want to expand, that's what the coaches in my life have done. Jason Jaggard has expanded my life through the way that he listens.
Right. And I've watched you do that in your coaching. You do it now naturally with everyone you talk to, but it looks like you bringing out greatness in them that they may have forgotten.
Yeah, they have it.
They have it in. So everything, I remember you always saying this, everything you need is in you.
Yeah.
It just needs to be pulled out of you.
Absolutely.
And brought to light. But challenging limiting beliefs without shame.
That's big.
Is huge. And I've watched you do that a lot.
Yeah.
With yourself, but also with the people that you coach.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful to see
saying that.
their whole face and eyes light up because they're like, I can do this without the shame that I'm feeling is amazing. And then you ask questions that expand their view.
Yeah. Well, it's like
of
this.
What's possible.
If someone comes up to you and you have a thought like, you don't believe in yourself, it's kind of shamey.
Right.
And it's kind of accusatory. I believe in myself. You don't believe in yourself. A elevated listener says, what do you believe in? Do you believe in yourself? Well, now you're cooking. But I just planted a seed in you with
That
my
may not
judgment.
have been, right.
It may or may not be. And this is a problem symptomatic of pastors often.
Yeah.
Where a pastor has a seat of authority and they have a very, very open, transparent lane to speak into people's lives. And rather than think about the lift of the person, they think about the lift of themselves. How can I look more this? So I've got the answer for you. Thank you for coming to me.
Right.
The guy who hears from God. Thank you. What would you do without a pastor in your life?
Oh my gosh.
I think a shepherd, a true leader, points back to the person and says, it's in you.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you dig it out. I'm not the answer.
Right.
I'm not the guy with the answer. You're the guy with the answer. And you got this in you. I was very good at prescriptive help. And often my prescriptions would work. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
It's not wrong. It just might not be best for the person because I can give you a prescription that might help you today because of what I heard.
Yep.
Or I can listen better and help you find a whole new mindset that now you have the tools. You have the control. But if I don't do that, I'm in control of your growth because I got the prescriptions. Like a drug dealer.
Right.
You got to keep on coming back to me because the last time your marriage fell apart, I got you through it.
Right.
Remember the advice I gave you? I heard you out and you listened to me. Dangerous, manipulative, ugly, even nefarious at
And
times.
don't you think that's why some pastors don't like therapy for people?
Yeah, it is.
Because it's like, why do you need therapy? You've got me. And it's like,
Well, pastors who say that, they don't understand therapy, probably don't go, but they're losing control in their mind.
Yep.
So when you see a pastor that wants to keep somebody, hey, be careful with all those therapists.
Right.
You need the word, and the word tells you you need a pastor. Let's not get all tutti frutti with all the therapizing. A healthy pastor would say, what do you need?
Right.
What's the best thing for you? I'm good at what I do as your pastor. I'm great at it. And because I'm great at it, I am not worried about you finding what you need when you need it. There's a special role for me. There's probably a special role. It's like a chiropractor telling someone who has torn out their knee, hey,
Just come to me.
use what I taught you about your back on your knee, man. Let's go. It's like there might be some other people that need to get involved. So I think that it's a minute number now of
I hope so.
pastors that would still be saying stuff like that, not because they believe it, but because they know it sounds so dumb. And they'll do it in different ways. Like, hey, I'm going to say, that therapy is okay, but let's be honest. Holy Spirit, me, you.
That's all you need.
That's an unbeatable tag team there, buddy. It's like, get out of here with that. Get whatever help you need. If you have ever been around a leader or a pastor who has been hesitant to advise or even promote or even point to other sources of help other than them, it's really time for you to possibly consider whether you're in a safe environment. That's the kindest way I can say it. Later, I'm going to say what I really feel about that. But I'm going to keep it right here, right now. Here's a great real-time example of a elevated listener. Somebody says to me, I'll never be able to lead like I used to be able to lead after the divorce. Elevated listening. Could be true. Could be true. I can see why you would feel like that for sure. There's also a chance that you could become a better leader because of the stuff you've been through. In fact, now you've got a whole new set of tools you didn't ask for, but there's a lot of other people that have been through divorce too. Mm-hmm. And now you can relate on a level you never would have been able to relate on if you're interested in seeing that side of it. So what I listened to you say was, I don't know if I can ever be the same as a leader. And I understand that. I just want to make sure you know the guy sitting in front of me is filled with passion, filled with power, and there's a whole lot of people who need what you got. All that did was create space. All I did was listen. There's no answers there. That's all just true things.
Right.
So that's the beauty of this. And I think that kind of listening helps somebody see themselves differently, and that shift can change everything. People rise or shrink to the level of your listening. You know this from our own marriage.
Yep.
Like whether you're vocal, confident, strong, secure, has a lot to do with the space that I create for you to talk. Mm-hmm. So if I've created cold space, if I've created distance, you're going to end up on the wrong side of that because there's no space. So it looks like you're small. Really, I'm small. I've created a small space. But if you know you're loved, you know you're supported, you know I'm attracted to you, you know that I am for you, not against you, you know that I'm your safe space, there's all these words, right, ideas, fears, judgments, love, light, laughter, and you do the same thing for me. Mm-hmm. So if I feel like you're going to hear me and then listen to me, ooh, I got bigger, I got stronger because I was able to talk about more. But if my wife cuts me off every time I even vocalize something, I shrink. There's power in that for sure. Here's a quick tip for those of you that are resonating with this. Oh, I'd like to be an elevated listener. Ask yourself while listening, what future does this person want? And what limiting belief is showing up? Because that's where you find maybe a common bond to be able to lift somebody's eyes. And practice calling out their greatness. Practice. So no matter what somebody say, I hear you and I'm listening, I know you're frustrated. And you're the kind of person that's got a dog in them. You fight and you attack and you're still here. I've been on the other side of moments like that and I've forgotten what I was sad about because I'm around such good people that they hear me and they listen to me and they find a way by their listening. Okay, I hear you say that you're really scared to take an opportunity. I remember a time where you did A, B, and C, and that was pretty awesome. And the person that I'm experiencing now, I wouldn't want to bet against that person. These are all listening hacks. And I remember leaving some things, started discouraged, left freaking empowered because someone listened to me in a new way. When somebody's stuck, don't just empathize. Expand. Empathy is better than nothing. It's a higher level than transactional. But don't just sit there. Expand. What would it look like if you believed you had the thing you don't think you have? Watch what somebody does. I don't feel like I can do it. I don't feel like I got what it takes to be a mom, for instance. We've heard a lot of moms say that. I understand how heavy that could feel, and that's real. What would your life be like? Let's just pretend that you did have what it takes. Can you just walk me through that imaginary journey? Well, I would go to the store and I would play with my kid, and before you know it, you're like, what was your issue again?
Yeah.
You just reminded yourself what's in you. Nobody did that for you.
This is really helpful for people who have experienced big trauma in their life.
Yes, because people who have dealt with major trauma, it's not that they're focusing on the facts too much. It's that maybe they focus too much on the facts that cannot change. So as a elevated listener, let's just say someone says, this person hurt me, they betrayed me, they lied to me, and they let me down. Those are true. Those are facts. I agree with you. Those are facts. It's also a fact that tomorrow is your day. They're no longer active. You have decisions in front of you get to make. It's also true. And you can slowly and lovingly pull somebody out of, it's not that these facts aren't real. It's that these facts aren't helping you. When I was in 12th grade, I got cut from the basketball team, and that coach hated my dad. So he cut me. I could have been in the NBA. Now I'm not. And everybody's always against me. Just like that time. Just like that time in 12th grade. Just like that time when I was a senior and I was about to get to my hooping, and I didn't make the team because somebody had it out for me. That's the story of my life. I hear you. That sounds horrible. We should go find that guy. It's true that you made it through that. It's true that there's other ways to get to this passion, but all of a sudden you're elevating. So you could do this with listening. That's what so many people think your speaking is going to be what lifts somebody's life. What if it's your hearing? What if it's your ability to hear on a different level? What if God is that good where he can create us in such a way where we can show up as listeners that want to elevate the conversation? We've got people that want to break the conversation down. I'm hearing you. Wait till I get to talk, but I am not interested in that. In my life, I want to not just listen to you, not just hear you. I want both of us to somehow lift to a different level through this discourse. And when you talk to somebody else who's on the same level, oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful thing ever, because you can bring something might be flammable.
Right.
Hey man, I'm gonna share something. I don't know how it's gonna land. It is not refined. It's not the best version of me, but I'm gonna bring it to the table. I feel like you don't give two shits about me sometimes. And someone who's on the level goes, if they're on the level, thank you for sharing. Means a lot that you would be that honest with me. How long you been feeling like this? Person keeps talking. Cool. Are there things you could point to that I have done to contribute to how you feel like that? Like, we are already at a place where I've been on both sides. I've been the guy delivering the flammable news to a loved friend, and I've been the one receiving it. And both times, using some of these strengths, you're able to leave so much better. Hey man, the story I'm telling myself about the way that you're operating right now is this, and that. If you don't know how to be a non-defensive listener, you've already rejected them, confronted them. No, I can understand why you might. Thank you for giving me a chance to clarify what I think is really happening. Boom. Every relationship that I have where both of my friends, we're both in the same journey, every time we talk, I pick up the phone wondering how much better am I going to get after this combo? I can't wait. You want to have friends like that where you're so excited to bring them terrible stuff. Because like, I got good friends who are going to hear this, they're going to listen, and they're going to help me figure this out. I just got to get it out. I got to go, hey bro, I hate everything.
Yeah.
Say more.
So good.
Got nothing more, bro. Don't therapize me. I got nothing. I hate this. I hate your phone. I hate the way you're talking right now. I just want to hate stuff right now.
Our kids have done that with
To
us.
have a space to be able to be that honest without someone throwing a Bible verse at you.
Right.
A cliche, a diagnosis is the beauty of life, because you have to get that out. And if you can do it in a safe space, you get better. Last tip, and write me. Let us know which one of these really matters to you, and we can break down more how to do this. Because if you're hearing this, scratch that, listening to this, you're probably finding different areas immediately where, especially if you're an employee, you might be hearing what your boss is saying. Are you listening to the need? You might be in a situation where you're conflicted with your spouse. You're hearing what she's saying, but are you listening to what she's not saying? You might have kids that hear you lecture them, but are you listening to what you might not be able to see, or they might not be able to articulate? This is where stuff gets better. People become what your listening has made room for. Both of us believe this about each other. You have helped me become somebody better because you've made room. by your listening. And my challenge to you as you listen to this, think about somebody in your life that maybe you have in this way made them small because of the space. It is addictive to see how people thrive if you listen. We have a friend named Chris Robbins, and his mom is a superstar. How old is she?
I'm going to get it wrong. I think she's 80s.
80s. She actually did an interview with Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
Mel Robbins is a struggling podcaster. You got to dig to find her pod with Chris Robbins' mom. But we're at Chris's house, and because I am addicted to this, and I just now know there's gold. I always have known there's gold in people, but I just didn't know how much. So she's in her 80s. She sits down, and I use some of these tools. 3 hours later, we went through decades of time, and it was like, what was it like growing up in New York City in the 50s? Wow. What was politics like back then? Did you feel pressure when our world was at war when you were this age? What was it was the most fascinating.
Like
I get chills even thinking about it, because we got to hear from a legend about a legendary life. But if she's 80, if she's past her prime, and she's patronized, aren't you sweet? How's the shuffleboarding? You gardening, are you? You're awesome.
Which she hikes 5 miles a day.
But she would have stayed in my little view, or by listening, expand. Right. My proposition to you listening, there are giants in your life that you might not know about. If you learn how to listen, man, your life gets so much richer. I mean, we do this. Our kids' friends, when they come over, I'm like, cannot wait to find out family dynamics. What's up, bro? What kind of language does your dad use with you? You just launch it. I mean, 3 hours later, they're leaving tired. They don't know why, but better. Hey, when you were 5, core memory with your dad, yes or no? And people are like, they don't know how amazing they are. It's like, wow, so let me get this straight. You've grown up in 7 houses. You've transferred 3 high schools. And you've got a stepdad you don't really know. And you're this fascinating person. Where do you get your strength from? Matter of fact, maybe they didn't even know they were strong.
Yeah.
This is the beauty. The deeper the listening, the more real change, transformation becomes possible. All of this requires intention. All of this requires passion. And if you are so busy with yourself and your life, and you hear this podcast and you're like, I don't want to do all that work. I'm trying to make money. You will be lonely.
Yeah.
I don't care about all this. People just need to get over themselves. You too will be lonely. And if you make a switch and start maybe looking at people as just an ocean of possibility as far as who they are, your entire life will get richer. If your life gets richer, your skill gets enhanced. If your skill gets enhanced, your opportunities now increase. And all this comes from nothing other than learning how to change the way you show up as a listener. Let's go get some lunch.
Okay.
Lights on?
Lights off. Ow.
Is this your bad arm?
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Ronda Rousey.
Not anymore.
Download, subscribe to the YouTube.
Yes.
See you soon. Lights off.